and it involved a dumpster and some very valiant employees. All right, guys, I just thought of something really cool that I want to tell you about. So we're going to take a walk because I'm going to tell you about a crazy story that some of you may have heard bits and pieces about, but I got one of my prized possessions in my collection from this story. And I thought it would be really cool to tell you guys about it, to kind of put it out there because, again, some people have connected the dots or heard about the lore of this story. But it happened at Hasbro. I was not there during this time. From what I understand, it happened around circa 2004. And it involved a dumpster and some very valiant employees that pulled an Indiana Jones and saved some stuff. And because of that, I now have a prized possession in my collection. That prized possession is right there. That, my friends, is the original artwork for the mail-away Deep Six from, I believe, 93 or 94. That was done by Kurt Groen. Worked on a ton of G.I. Joes in the late 80s and early 90s. And again, this piece of artwork was once in a dumpster. Probably like, why was it in a dumpster? Well, so the story goes like this. I'm not going to name any names because a lot of names I actually don't know. There was a person that worked at Hasbro and they were doing some spring cleaning, as you would say. And there were these flat file bins. For those of you that, knew advertising flat file bins, there were these big like filing cabinets, flat drawers where you could house big pieces of artwork. And I guess in a part of Hasbro, they were cleaning out these bins and they were looking through stuff. And a lot of it was not packaging artwork. It was artwork from like pamphlets, like the G.I. Joe inserts and marketing artwork and things like, but it was original artwork, but not packaging artwork per se. I know this, when I get into the story of this, it could have been packaging artwork. It was a file card, but again, that sort of non-traditional packaging artwork, that's what this stuff was. And there was probably hundreds of pieces. And from what I understand, this person said, we don't need these anymore. What do we do with them? Throw them out. So they threw out all of these pieces of artwork. We're talking original handmade artwork, threw in a dumpster. And I think some people got wind of it and employers were like, wait, they're throwing out artwork? And this, you're talking Transformers, all sorts of other brands, the girls' brands, the boys' brands, not just like collector brands, G.I. Joe stuff. And this stuff went into this dumpster. And these employees, from what I've heard different stories where it was a ton of employees like flocking to this dumpster. I heard some people going in and out, and it was like, oh, I walked past the dumpster, I grabbed a piece here and there. So I don't know. I wasn't there firsthand to know, but I just heard stuff was in the dumpster. We know that for sure. And these employees were kind of dumpster diving. Glad they did though, because some people got some amazing stuff. This was one of those pieces. So this Deep Six piece, no one had ever seen anything other than the file card. And the file card only showed about this much of him. Now we could see it's a full body shot. Now this came up on eBay, I don't know, maybe around 2017. And I saw it and no one was biting on it. Normally when this one-of-a-kind stuff comes up, like people flock to it and it's like, it's gone. And it wasn't getting any hits. And I was talking to a friend of mine and he said, oh, I think I know who's selling that. Because let me reach out to him. They were friends. And he reached out to me, and then he got us connected. And I started talking to him like, hey, I'm really interested in this piece. Can you tell me about it? He said this was a piece that ended up in the dumpster and it was one of the pieces he saved. So this came out. We ended up working out a deal and I got it. I framed it, archived it. And but again, I talked to Dan Klingensmith, who does all the, the Joe books, goes deep into like stuff that never came out or the whole production of things. So he really knows a lot about this stuff. And I said, hey, do you know who would have done this? And he goes, I think it might be a Kurt piece. So he did a dinner and I was able to go and Kurt was there. And I had the picture on my phone. I said, hey, did you do this? He goes, oh yeah, I remember that. I was like, well, what could you tell me about it? Because we know it was the Malloy Deep 6, but we only saw his head. And he said, yeah, this was originally supposed to be a full carded figure. And it was done, he goes, yeah, it was done for Ralston Purina. So for those of you big time Joe fans out there, Ralston Purina, which you think dog food, but they're tied to, I think it was either Kellogg's or I think they were just their own company. They were the ones that did Action Stars, which was the G.I. Joe cereal. So they commissioned some of these mail-away items, and they had commissioned this piece. And again, he said it was originally supposed to be a carded figure, but then things changed and they just made it the mail-away. So then we only saw the headshot. So it was cool to now see this full body shot, and I believe either Dan's put it in one of his books. I know Carson's put it in the 3D Joe's books. So, so this has seen the light of day. Like, people now know that there was a full body shot of the Mail-Away Deep 6. Now, going back to the whole dumpster thing, there were other pieces that were saved. Again, this is a lot of artwork that was in those inserts, those pamphlets, you know. I'm trying to think where I had some. Hold on. I'm not saying this artwork per se, because this is like, you know, the packaging artwork, but artwork that may have appeared in some of this. You know, if you saw, like, there was the one of Sergeant Slaughter where he's chained up against the wall, or he's got the parka on in the cold. I think kind of, I don't know for sure if it's that stuff. I'm just saying, like, that stuff is kind of what was in their stuff that was used just for, like, these inserts and marketing sort of things. But luckily, I do believe all that artwork was saved. So I don't think anything got thrown out. I know some people that have some pieces. Again, I don't want to share their stuff. I just want to share what my piece and, you know, the story that I was told about it, because it's kind of crazy to think, wait, someone was just going to throw that stuff out? But again, yeah, luckily employees were there that knew what it was and knew that it shouldn't be thrown out. Because, like, you shouldn't throw out artwork, you know? That's like, give it another home, donate it or something like that. But the idea of, like, throwing away artwork was just like, wow, who would make that decision? So luckily that person's mistake was our gain, because some people got some really good stuff out of there and saved it, you know, because say they did that at the end of the day or like on the weekend or something, and no one was there to save that stuff and it just got tossed. Then it's like gone forever. You know, we would have never known that there was a full body shot of Deep 6 done. So I want to thank the employees that actually did the dumpster diving and saved this stuff, because it should live on, whether it's, even if it's just in Hasbro archives or something, it should not have been destroyed, and luckily it wasn't. But I've always thought that story is crazy, and, you know, people have heard about the infamous, you know, dumpster story, but yeah, that's kind of something that happened. But luckily, you know, some of us got some really great stuff. You know, hopefully you guys enjoyed that little story. I always thought that was a fun one. But I mean, if there's any that you guys have heard, other companies, you know, Hasbro, Mattel, or, you know, guys that have experienced this you know, at times, I'd love to hear your stories, because stuff like this, like the rich lore and history of toys is something I just love. You know, that's why I just celebrate this stuff, because it's so cool. But yeah, that's my story about my Deep 6 piece that came out of a dumpster. So hopefully you guys liked it, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you're liking and subscribing to the channel. We've got new content coming out every Saturday at 9 a.m. So yeah, we'll see you on the next one.